Alright, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Spider, and in this video we're going to be breaking down ASL week number 2, going up against GawdBear and the Chicago Falinks. For some reason the glare on my glasses is really bothering me right now. Not entirely sure why, but that's okay. We're just going to have to deal with it. GawdBear has a team of Kyurem, Galarian, Slowking, Clefable, Iron Treads, Cleaver, Chestnut, Blastoise, Crocalor, Electrode, Mismagius, and Diglett. I don't know why I'm having trouble saying words. I mean, it is like 1 a.m., but that's okay. I've had a few mocks with this game. Basically, the name of the game is keep hazards on their side, keep hazards off my side, and win with Iron Boulder at the end. That's pretty much the goal. I haven't seen Diglett in any mocks. Wouldn't be surprised to see it. Actually, I would. It's a Diglett. Who really cares? I've seen Electrode a few times. I haven't seen Crocalor, which I think is interesting because I think Crocalor has a decent matchup here, actually. And I've seen Mismagius like once, and Chestnut once. I think I've had like 4 or 5 mocks with this team. Maybe 3 or 4. I'll say 3 or 4 mocks. And I'm expecting Chestnut. I wouldn't be surprised to see Crocalor. So anyway, I saw Shell Smash Blastoise. But at any rate, the Terra Captains are going to be Blastoise, Crocalor, and Electrode. For Blastoise, it can Terra Water, Fire, or Dragon. For Crocalor, it can Terra Fire, Ghost, or Poison. And for Electrode, it can Terra Electric, Grass, or Ice. I should have, a layout, but I don't have one yet. I don't know if I will make one, but whatever. That's fine. I'm fairly confident about this matchup. I think that, if we take care of certain things, we should be good to go. So that's the wrong team, and so is that one. Alright, we finally nicknamed our Pokemon. I actually didn't have nicknames last week, and so I just did Game of Thrones references because that's, I don't know, I wasn't feeling too creative, obviously. So we got Walder Frey, the Annihilate here. With the leftovers, we got Rage Fist, Drain Punch, Gunk Shot, Bulk Up, 248 HP, 204 defense with an Impish Nature, and 56 speed. These are the same 4 moves as last week, but it's a different EV spread because I feel like switching into things like Cleaver and Iron Treads, because Iron Treads is his only Rapid Spinner, so I'm going to try to spin block him there. Switching into certain things like that, also the Chestnut, potentially a Dragon Dancing Kyurem. All those things are very physical, and I want to be able to take those physical hits as well as possible, which is what the defense is for. And we have a little bit of speed so that we can, try to outspeed like a Diglett with no speed, maybe a Kyurem with no speed, and so forth. So that's the hope, obviously. You never know, but that's why that's there. Annihilate is just going to do Annihilate things. Next up, we got Craig and Stark, our Diagonal, with 248 HP. 240 special defense and 20 speed. Again, just a pinch of speed, which is what I usually do with certain Pokemon. Just in case Iron Treads runs no speed, we'll be able to outspeed it. Not that we're really trying to stay in against it unless we know it doesn't have a Steel type move. Maybe it runs Knockoff, Rapid Spin, Volt Switch, and Earthquake, or something of that. Or maybe Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin, Knockoff, Earthquake. Maybe it just doesn't run Iron Head. It's very possible, because otherwise Iron Head isn't really good against my team besides this Pokemon. So in that case, it would be very valuable to be able to outspeed that thing, maybe get a recover off. I can switch into it pretty well if it doesn't have Iron Head, because I'm immune to Earthquake, and Full Switch doesn't do much. And once my boots are knocked off, Knockoff's not doing much. So yeah, Rapid Spin. I needed a spinner. Initially I had Spidef Manabuzz with Defog, but I think Kyurem gets the job done better. If it is a special Kyurem, we can deal with that better with Cryogonal than Manabuzz, obviously. We can deal with potentially a Shell Smashing Blastoise a little bit better with Cryogonal, as long as it doesn't Terra Fire in front of us, because then Freeze Dry would be resisted, which would not be fun. And you could say Manabuzz deals better with deals with Mismagius better, but Mismagius can just Thunderbolt it, and that would be super effective. It can even Will-O-Wisp Manabuzz. At least Cryogonal is a special attacker. Cryogonal can also deal with Electro a little bit better. So I think Cryogonal has the better matchup here. And I'm probably not going to end up using it that much, so why not try to use it? I have Flash Cannon over something like, Knockoff, because I want to be able to hit, the Kyurem a little harder in case it is a Dragon Dance set. I want to be able to at least hit it. Flash Cannon also will hit Clefable a little bit harder as well. So I also debated Water Pulse just so I could hit the treads, but I don't really need to. I mean, it's like Feast or Famine. Either Iron Treads is able to nuke me with Iron Head, or it really can't do much damage to me at all, in which case Freeze Dry is just is good enough, right? So that's the Crocalor set. Next up, I did. Okay, it was just in between songs, I guess. Anyway, next up is Salazzle. Oops. We have the Black Sludge, because I am confident in my ability to keep hazards off the field. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I'm a fool. All I know is that music is not playing. Hold on. Is it playing on my phone somehow? No. Okay. Oh, there it is. It's back. Okay. Sorry about that momentary lapse in judgment, I guess. Toxic, Nasty Plot, Sludge Wave, and Flamethrower are the moves. I had Substitute over Nasty Plot. I don't really need it though, and I think this thing is very capable as a sweeper. The only thing is I'm not really trying to sweep. I have 248 HP, only 92 EVs in special attack, and 168 speed. Timid Nature. This will outspeed his Iron Treads pretty much, just so that if that thing wants to get out of hand, it really can't unless it's booster energy speed. But I don't see Iron Treads getting out of hand. I see that Pokemon as being more of a supportive role against me. So we do outspeed it if it is max speed, and that's great. Flamethrower still does a lot to that thing. I think Flamethrower plus Sludge Wave, if I have a Nasty Plot up, still does really well against this team. And of course, if that Galarian Slowking wants to switch in on me, I can of course Toxic it because I am Corrosion. I can Toxic anything. So initially I wanted to be that stall set, but I think it just makes more sense to kind of have the Toxic there, but also have the option to set up and sweep late game potentially. Just be really annoying against my opponent. So next up is our Shuckaberry Shuckaberry Sandy Shocks with 48 HP, 252 special attack, 208 speed, Timid Nature. We are Earth Power, Flash Cannon, Volt Switch, Spikes. Oh, I keep forgetting to shout him out. BGC gave me a lot of help this week as well. Gotta give him that shout out because otherwise I think I just wouldn't be as confident in my teams. Just being able to run your teams by other people really helps in kind of understanding your team and being confident in what your game plan is. So we're probably going to end up leading this thing because if he does the Cleaver, that's actually really good for us. We are resistant to the Stone Axe, as well as just being able to spike up against that thing. We have the Shuckaberry specifically for the Iron Treads so that we can stay in against that, live that hit no matter what, as long as we're above half health, and Earth Power it back to do a lot of damage. Flash Cannon will hit really Kyurem, Clefable, Cleaver. The three, Clefable's C, but they all have a K noise. So those three, Flash Cannon hits really hard, super effectively even, which is why it's on the moveset here, and then Volt Switch just for a little bit of switch initiative if we need to do that. Like for example, if I'm in against Blastoise, just Volt Switch out. If it brings in Treads, sure, I'll take the damage. Earth Power's not going to kill him, but he's going to do a lot, and if we're able to somehow keep a spike up on the field, that's going to be really big. So anyway, next up we have the Iron Boulder, which we changed a little bit from earlier. We have Casterly Rock. By the way, Three Sisters and Tears Release, little nicknames. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. Casterly Rock, the Iron Boulder, 144 HP, 252 attack, and 112 speed, Jolly Nature. Now I do still get a speed boost from this Iron Booster, or from this Booster Energy. Iron Booster. See, again, it's like almost 1:30 a.m. I'm struggling out here. But I don't think I said that in this video. I think I said it in the WPF one that I just recorded. But anyway, we do outspeed. We're the same speed tier as the Salazzle, 343. So we're outspeeding an Iron Treads. And after that booster speed goes off, we outspeed everything, no matter what, for that one time we're in. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to bring this thing in an advantageous position, Swords Dance up, and then I kind of start, no pun intended, cleaving through things. Mighty Cleave hits really everything except for Chestnut and Iron Treads. I can CC the Iron Treads and I can Psycho Cut Chestnut. Two reasons I have Psycho Cut over Zen Headbutt. For one, it always hits, and it doesn't have the chance to flinch like Zen Headbutt does, but I'm only risking 10 power for 100% accuracy, and I think that's going to be helpful, because if we're at +2 and we get Chestnut chipped like at all, even if it's defensive, it's going down. So that's why the spikes are so important. I have Stealth Rocks. I used to have Stealth Rocks over spikes for things like Kyurem and Crocalor, but I felt like spikes are really important to chip down things like Chestnut. It does even the extra 6%. That's chip, man. That's really helpful. For Iron Treads, it would be like an extra 9%. That might become the difference between winning and losing if this is our late game sweeper, which it's for all intents and purposes, that's what this thing's going to try to do. Come in late and just try to clean. His best answer, I think, is either Pyalpa Berry Chestnut or a Chopple Iron Treads. I think Chopple Iron Treads makes more sense because it can really do a lot more damage to me than Chestnut. I don't think Chestnut's the strongest thing outright. And if Chestnut has Spiky Shield, again, Psycho Cut is non-contact. The other reason for having Psycho Cut is so that I don't get paralyzed by an Electrode, which actually happened in a mock, which is probably the biggest reason why I went for Psycho Cut, because I clicked Mighty Cleave. That's a contact move. Psycho Cut would have killed if I had it, but I didn't have it on the moveset at that point. So I went for Mighty Cleave and I got staticked, and that pretty much lost me the game. So it's really important to keep this thing healthy and bring it in at the ideal position to try to win the game. I wouldn't put it past them to bring the Crocalor, just because it's unaware and it can Will-O-Wisp me and be annoying with that. It can Terra to avoid the super effective damage from Mighty Cleave. It could Terra Ghost, and that could be, really troublesome. So, yeah, that's the Iron Boulder. That's our plan, is to Swords Dance and then just hack through things. Last but not least, we have kind of a support mon here with our Grand Maester, the Gudra. I try to name him Maester Pycelle, but that's too long for the nickname. You only get 12 characters. We got leftovers we're just defensive. We have everything in HP and defense except 12 EVs in speed, so that we can, for any reason, try to outspeed Clefable potentially. That would be helpful. We got Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Knockoff, and Curse because we don't need anything else. I think that it's going to be really easy for this Pokemon to switch into a Slowking, a Kyurem, a Clefable, an Electrode, a Mismagius, a Blastoise that isn't already set up, even a Cleaver that doesn't bring close combat. Let's say it runs Swords Dance, Trailblaze, Stone Axe, and X-Scissor. Well, you can't hurt this thing. I mean, you just can't. So, no Wish support, which is why leftovers are so important. I have Curse there just in case. I don't really need anything else. Let me just set up a Curse and see where that can take us. Of course, it does lower the speed, which is a little bit, unfortunate, but I think even at -1, we should be able to outspeed a Slowking. Because Slowking is well, definitely, yeah, we'll be able to outspeed that thing at -1. Unless it's speed creeping something like a Arachnid or a Wigglytuff. That would be kind of sick, actually. But yeah, that's the team. Thanks for watching the team builder. We are going to have the battle tomorrow, so I'm going to cut the video right here, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, here we are in the battle. There's going to be another little voiceover here, yet again. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. I'm not able to record the audio, which is annoying, but that's okay. Just the construction going on around the house. I didn't want to bother you guys with all that. So yeah, my opponent brings Diglett and Crocalor, and I'm not too surprised about the Crocalor, but the Diglett I wasn't expecting. So we're probably gonna see some heat in this one, which is very fun. I did not bring much heat at all. I did bring a pretty fun team, but it's not very spicy, I should say. So. A few things. What did my opponent not bring? See, this kind of sucks because well, anyway, not going to get into the weeds of it, but yeah, there are a few things my opponent didn't bring. I guess I can check it out. I'm just going to lead Sandy Shocks because that's always oh yeah, no Iron Treads, which is crazy, which means he really has no hazard removal, and judging by that Clefable set, it may be It may be unaware because I have a few setup threats. So, you know, what Pokemon have boots on his team? It's probably Diglett probably doesn't have boots. Crocalor can't because he's going to hold Eviolite. Chestnut might. Slowking might. Diglett probably. Wait, I already said Diglett. Kyurem might, but Kyurem could also run Scarf or Loaded Dice or something like that. So, hoping to get hazards up immediately. So that is the plan. Good luck to GawdBear, and we're going to see what he leads. So at this point, I'm actually calcing, or I think before the game started, I was calcing to see how much Diglett would do to me with like an Earthquake. I am Shuckleberry, so that's actually pretty helpful here. It was initially for Iron Treads, but since he brought the Diglett, it might have some use. It does like 33% to a Sandy Shocks because of the Shuckleberry, so yeah, and we could just knock it out with Earth Power. So he leads Slowking though, which is actually great for me. I'm going to be able to get a Spike up, and he's going to go ahead and go for the Ice Beam. It's going to do around half to me, which tells me he probably doesn't have any investment. What else did he not bring? I'm trying to figure it out. See, now I'm on the... Oh yeah, no Cleaver either. No Cleaver, Iron Treads, Blastoise, Electrode, or Mismagius. So no Blastoise is actually kind of a relief. I didn't want to get swept by that thing. But yeah, so at this point, you can kind of see I'm off on the other screen calcing what kind of damage that is. I don't really get any info there, I don't think. So I don't really want to stay in because I still see value for this thing. I think it hits a lot of things pretty hard on this team. I get to Earth Power this. I can, Flash Cannon the Kyurem and Clef. I can still get a few spikes up since he doesn't have removal, so it's still valuable. I calc the damage, and it tells me he's not very especially bulky, which is kind of a relief. I guess it's not good for Iron Boulder, but for everything else, it's kind of nice. So I'm gonna go into Grand Maester. Actually, no, it's not good for Goodra either, because I'm actually a physical Goodra, but that's okay. He goes for Ice Beam again, which is fine. He's gonna do a little bit of damage. We're not gonna get frozen, which is fortunate, and we're gonna pop the leftovers here. So at this point, knockoff is super simple. I don't really have to think about it here. I'm expecting probably either a hard switch or just a Chilly Reception. Chilly would make sense because he's got the Kyurem for the defense boost in the snow, so that might come out. We are going to knock off here and do a decent chunk. We're going to knock off the Shuckleberry, so that's actually really helpful for the Sandy Shocks. We actually see a Thunder Wave here, which I guess I wasn't expecting, but it makes sense. I should still be able to outspeed this thing, which is crazy, unless it has some sort of speed, which I don't really know why it would. I don't have anything that slow on my team, I don't think. Now again, actually, do I have anything that slow? No. Arachnoid is my slowest at base 42, and Slowking's base 30, so it would have to run a lot of speed to match up, which I don't think it would want to do. Twinkle comes out, which is going to be the Clefable. I believe we double knocked here. I don't think that would have actually knocked out Slowking. Maybe it would have. It would have been close, but we knock off the Light Clay, so he's obviously trying to, get up screens and probably try to sweep with that. You're probably not Light Clay if you're not. You're going to run Light Clay so that you can have longer turns for screens, so that you can more easily set up with something. So it's at this point I'm thinking about his team. It's probably either Dragon Dance Kyurem or Belly Drum Tresnot, or one or both of them. It could be both of them. So at this point, I don't really know what I want to do. I could stay in and get a big Heavy Slam off, but if he sets up Cosmic Power or Calm Mind and I get fully paralyzed, that's just not going to be fun. So at this point, I start to calc how much a Heavy Slam does, and it's doing a lot of damage. So if he's physically defensive, it's still going to bring him into the red or very close to it. So I do end up just going for a Heavy Slam and trying to break through. It does go for Light Screen, which is actually good for me, because we are going to get this big damage off with the Heavy Slam. We do connect, bring it to about 10, 15%, some in that range. Now at this point, I don't really think they will opt to go for the healing move, because if I hit another Heavy Slam, I just knock it out. So I'm thinking either a switch out or just a Reflect comes. The issue is if I just stay in and he gets a Reflect up, it's a pretty free switch into a belly drum chestnut, or perhaps just a Kyurem. Probably not Kyurem, since I still hit that thing really hard and I could Dragon Tail it out. I could Dragon Tail a chestnut out too, but if it goes for substitute and I Dragon Tail, it probably doesn't break a substitute because chestnut's really bulky. So I really don't want to be in the position where I'm letting a chestnut set up a sub and then belly drum. He has the probably Salic Berry to boost his speed. That could be a whole thing. So that's why I didn't just opt to knock this thing out. So we're going to go into Three Sisters and going to Volt Switch out. There is no ground type because he didn't bring Iron Treads. So Volt Switch is going to be free here. And, hoping, I don't know what I'm hoping here, but I could go for a Spikes here, which, probably would have made sense. But I went for Volt Switch just to spoil it. Because I wanted to knock, this would definitely, I'm calculating to make sure, it would definitely knock out this Clefable even if it's Spadef, because he is so low. And yeah, so I do just Volt Switch, because I want to be able to get in something else, probably like a Salazzle to ensure that he can't set up with something. I can just Toxic anything on his team, which would be ideal. So yeah, we're just going to go for the Volt Switch here. If I stay in Flash Cannon, again, he could bring in Chestnut, and then that's just a big deal for me. Not very fun. I don't want to lose to that. I don't even think he had Substitute, to be honest, but obviously I don't know that at this point. I'm a big Substitute fan as a move, so that's probably why. Okay, I'm trying to look for if he sent me his team. No, he did not. Okay. Okay, so I do Volt Switch on the Chestnut switch in, which is fine. So that's actually ideal. I'd rather him bring in this so I get a free switch into whatever I want to do. I believe I go into Tears of Least the Salazzle here. Yeah, I'm not even going to think about it because if he has Earthquake, he has Earthquake, but I don't want to let this thing set up a belly drum. And even if Flamethrower doesn't kill, it's not going to keep him above half health for sure. So, and if he is Citrus Berry, then he's not boosting his speed. I actually Toxic here because I'm expecting the Slow King switch in. Probably expecting a Flamethrower or anything, really. So that's what we're going to do here. If he does stay in and Earthquakes me, that's fine. I still got a Poison Off on something. So we are going to get a Poison Off on Gigi, the Great Friend. Or is it Geek? I don't know. Whatever. Slow King's going to get poisoned here because of my Corrosion ability. That's beautiful. Getting a Poison Off on this, keeping it on a timer. Now, obviously, it can switch out and get Regenerator boosts, but that continual chip is really going to help me. So, at this point, I do want to switch. I do have plenty of switch-ins to this, so it's probably in my best interest to do just that. Now, I could stay in predicting the over-predict here, but at this point, it's just not worth it. I still have to worry about the screens that are going to be set up by the Clefable. I think he's still got a few turns of screens at this point. So I don't want to give my opponent any sort of momentum. But at the same time, I still value Salazzle's ability to Toxic things, for sure. So we are going to make this safe switch into Goodra. It's pretty obvious, but sometimes the obvious play is the right one. So we're going to go into Goodra. This time it was not the right play, but that's okay. They're going to tell a chillingly bad joke, which I find to be hilarious. I mean, that's just one of the funniest jokes out there. And it started to snow. So Slowking's going to get up out of there. Good play up on my opponent. Expecting the switch, or just expecting to take a hit and be able to chill the reception out. So Chestnut's going to come back in. And at this point, he's got the momentum. His light screen is going to wear off, which is great, which means the Reflect is wearing off this next turn. So he does still have one turn of that, which sucks, but it is what it is. My play is still Salazzle, because on the off chance he doesn't have Earthquake, if he has sub Belly Drum, Dual Stab, then we could live a hit. If he's Earthquake, we don't live a hit. But if he's Adamant, max speed with the Chestnut, we actually still outspeed him by, I think, 2 points with Salazzle. So he's got to be Jolly to outspeed Salazzle, which I assume he will be. But if he's Jolly, Drain Punch, or Seed Bomb, they're not a guaranteed knockout. Or at least Drain Punch isn't. So that's what I'm calculating here, just to see what Salazzle takes from these hits. So it's really helpful that Chestnut is so slow in this case. Obviously, I'm alluding to the fact that he will belly drum with the Salic Berry. Again, I didn't want to risk the full para. I could have probably just stayed in and heavy slammed to maybe get a knockout here, but to me it really wasn't worth it because Googe is still very valuable in this game, and if I do get a paralysis, that's just really bad for me. So going to belly drum with the Salic Berry. No surprise given that he switched it in after setting up the screens with Clefable. I think it makes a lot of sense. So at this point, you know, we're kind of in a rough spot because obviously this thing has the ability to outspeed everything but Iron Boulder. Iron Boulder can take a hit. Well, no, it can't take a hit, but it can outspeed this thing once it gets to with the booster speed. And, you know, if it goes for Earthquake, we guaranteed knock this thing out with a Psycho Cut. We can revenge it. The only issue with that is that we'd be using our booster energy, and then, you know, if we switch out, we don't get that back. So, you know, but at this point, it's looking really good for Iron Boulder if we are able to set up a Sword Stance at some point. So, and even if we're not, we're still doing a lot of damage to really everything on this team at this point. We're going to go ahead and Flamethrower here. Does Drain Punch, and we barely take that. 9 HP left, which is crazy. And we're going to Flamethrower and knock this thing out, which is actually kind of interesting because I only had 92 EVs in special attack. But Max the friend, Max the Chestnut is going to go down. That was a roll in his favor. I did get the roll there. As long as he was max attack. Now maybe he wasn't max attack, but if he was, again, he had to run Jolly to outspeed me there, which gave me the opportunity to live it. Now he did have Earthquake. He told me after the game, but if he Earthquakes there, he's obviously not living any hit from Iron Boulder. So the plan was to knock that out with Drain Punch, and then get enough health back to live the hit. And then you can see, I mean, you know, I'm trying to focus on the game. People are trying to talk to me. That's fine, but anyway. Yeah, just a crazy sequence there. So he brings in GG. At this point, I'm feeling great. I think I just decided to let this thing drop. I don't want to give my opponent another chilly reception into the Kyurem potentially, because at this point, Kyurem's the biggest threat to my team. Besides Kyurem, there really isn't much to threaten me. Crocalor might be annoying just to break through, but it's not going to do much else than that. At least that was my thought process. I really love how Salazzle uses its moves. It's like its hands and feet like glow when he uses that move. And the shiny, again, I mean, probably top 10 shiny of the whole game. I think I alluded to Ninetales in the WPF game being Ninetales' shiny being top 5 of all time. I think Salazzle has to be top 10. It does knock me out there with what, a Psychic or something? I don't know what he'd even used. Probably had to be. Actually, it could have been anything, right? Because I was really low. Yeah. But that's fine. We're just going to go probably into, yeah, Sandy Shocks. That makes sense. Sandy Shocks is going to just be able to Earth Power here, threaten pretty much everything on his team. Now, at this point, it's pretty obvious that I'm just going to be able to knock this thing out. And he really needs the Snow to aid Kyurem. So I probably should have thought about that and just clicked another Spike, expecting the Clefable sack. But I just clicked Earth Power because I wasn't really thinking. We'd already seen that Clefable had taken Spike's damage, and it was probably low enough to drop to another Spike's. Even if it wasn't, I could just knock it out the next turn because I obviously outspeed. He's going to go ahead and switch into Twinkle, and that's kind of where I make my mistake there, is I should have spiked. Got another layer up. Now if I did have Stealth Rocks, that would be, if I had Spikes and Stealth Rock instead of like Flash Cannon here, that would be pretty ideal. Now obviously Flash Cannon is still nice for Kyurem here, but if I had Stealth Rocks, I mean, geez, you're going to see that Kyurem is not boots, so it would have taken 25 from Stealth Rocks and another 12 from Spikes, which would have been awesome. And then it would have, the Crocalor would have also taken 37% total, because it is obviously Eviolite. So shout out to BGC. I don't know if I already shouted him out this game or in the team builder, but he did tell me I should run rocks, and he was probably right about that. I wanted Spikes because it damages Iron Treads and Chestnut more, which to me were like the biggest threats to the Iron Boulder sweep. So that's why I brought Spikes, but that's okay. Gonna bring in Slowking, and at this point it's obvious he's gonna try to chilly reception out. Well, it's not obvious. I mean, if he's not Scarf Kyurem, he doesn't outspeed, and he probably takes a lot from Earth Power, so he might just try to knock me out here. I'm not too sure. But if that was the case, I would expect a Diglett to come in here, unless he's really expecting Shucka. So, yeah, I think Chilly Reception was a fairly, not obvious play, but it was, yeah, I wasn't, like, surprised by it. I was trying to knock it out there with an Earth Power. I thought I had a chance to knock it out, but, yeah, but he does live it. Gonna be able to Chilly out into Kyurem. Now, at this point, I honestly, I completely forgot about loaded dice. I didn't think of that as an item, period. I was thinking if he's Boots, he's probably going to set up with Dragon Dance, and if he's not Boots, he's probably Specs or Scarf. So I don't see the Boots there, because he takes damage. I should have expected loaded dice, because that is a great move, and that's really a great item. It's really his best way of winning at this point. I should have stayed in and clicked Flash Cannon. That to me, I think, was the biggest misplay of the game for me. Because, although I should have spiked on the Clefable sack, that's not really an awful play. I just think it's a missed opportunity. This was a bad play, because if he's Scarfed and knocks me out here, I can live with that. I can switch, I can bring in Goodra and threaten it out. He probably goes for Ice Beam. I can just go into Craig and Stark there after that and just double out knowing you won't stay in. There's obviously a myriad of plays if he is Scarfed and he knocks me out here. But I make the swap into Goodra because I really expect him to be Scarfed here. If I had stayed in, I would have outsped and got a big Flash Cannon off, and then the pressure, there wouldn't be nearly as much pressure. So I'm very upset at that play. Almost ended up, being the death of me. This Kyurem is obviously a big threat here. +1/+1. And, if I get fully paralyzed here, I'm in a world of hurt. And because Kyurem is so heavy, Heavy Slam does like 25% or something crazy. So, Kyurem's going to Icicle Spear, and he's going to do, obviously, he's loaded dice, which I'm realizing now. He does 4 hits. It doesn't matter because another 4 will knock me out anyway. I do get fully paralyzed. That might be a blessing in disguise, because I went for knockoff, and that would have done like 0 damage. I would have knocked off the loaded dice, but he probably would have just Dragon Danced again, seeing as how I didn't click Dragon Tail or a special type move. I mean, I was not in a great position there, especially with the paralysis. So if he knew that I didn't have anything for the Kyurem, he might have just continued to set up Dragon Dances. So that paralysis kind of helps me. But he's going to go for Scale Shot now, which means because he has the +1 from Dragon Dance and the +1 from the Scale Shot, he's actually going to be able to outspeed Iron Boulder, which is great prep on my opponent's part. I mean, this is a great set, and really, obviously, I was not prepared enough for it. Actually, I think I was prepared enough if I just clicked Flash Cannon with Sandy Shocks. But alas, that is not what happened. He does get a defense drop, which means, Mighty Cleave is going to knock this thing out, definitely, even with the snow up, because that kind of takes away the snow defense boost, since he got the defense drop. So at this point, I'm calcing. I do live a hit with Iron Boulder. I live 5 hits from Scale Shot or Icicle Spear. My opponent did tell me his last move after the game was Iron Head, which had a chance to knock me out, but it was in my favor. Obviously, he could get the flinch chance. At this point, I'm thinking I could go into Iron Boulder, but I also have an Annihilate that takes hits here, and the gears are starting to turn here, where I'm like, wait, can I just click Rage Fist if he clicks Icicle Spear or Scale Shot on my if he clicks Icicle Spear on my Annihilate, I get a huge Rage Fist boost because it counts for every single hit he does to me. So at this point, I'm calculating, do I kill with a Rage Fist if he hits me 4 times? Because that would be less than ideal if he goes for that move and only hits me 4 times. But if he hits me 5 times, I definitely knock him out. So yeah, at this point, I just go into Annihilate and hope he doesn't Dragon Dance again. That would suck. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, I could go for Drain Punch here and 2 KO him, because I definitely live 2 Icicle Spears. Well, technically 5 Icicle Spears if he decides to get 5 hits on both of them. I could knock him out with 2 Drain Punches, but and that kind of protects me if he goes for Dragon Dance here, because obviously Rage Fist is going to do like 0 damage if he clicks Dragon Dance. But I have to just hope that he attacks me here. I think it's unlikely that he just Dragon Dances, because Drain Punch is a 2-hit KO, Whereas if you hit me here with the move, and at this point the face cam goes out of focus. If you hit me with a move here and I drain punch and you get like some crits or something, you could just knock me out with 2, rather than if you go for drain punch, then or dragon dance, then you definitely can't. So he does hit me 5 times here, which is ideal. I'm gonna knock him out with a rage fist, and my face cam is still unfocused, which is not fun. I'm trying to refocus it. I don't really know how to do all that. So at some point I take off the face cam, just realizing that it's not gonna refocus. I don't know what happened. Maybe I leaned back in my chair or something. I'm trying to, anyway, just acting like a goon up there. Gonna knock out the Kyurem there, and we have a full rage fist boost. So we have 300 base power move at our disposal. At this point, I'm looking at my opponent's team. They have a Crocalor, they have a Slowking, and a Galarian Slowking, and they have a Diglett. So I'm not worried about the Diglett at all. In fact, I'll probably just Drain Punch it, and that might just knock it out, even though I'm not invested. You know, yeah. So his best option is probably going to be the Crocalor. Crocalor actually does not take too much damage from a Rage Fist, which is kind of crazy. He's going to bring in the Crocalor here. Gets hurt by the spikes. Again, if I had Stealth Rocks up, jeez, man. Still focused on... See, I'm moving my hand back very slowly. Apologies if my hand looks ugly. I don't have the best looking hands, but I guess they could be worse. So at this point, I'm worried about a Will-O-Wisp, obviously. I want to make sure I don't get Will-O-Wisped. So I want to go into Sandy Shocks because although the residual damage would be annoying, I can just take that and Earth Power back. And if he has to Terra, basically his Terras are Fire, Poison, and Ghost with this Pokemon. Terra, Fire, and Poison are still weak to Earth Power, and if he Terra Ghost, he's then weak to the Rage Fist. So I'm hoping to see a Terra here as I switch into Sandy Shocks, hoping that he goes for... Well, you know, most moves would be fine. I take any one hit there with Sandy Shocks, I think. I have some decent bulk. If I take a hit, I can do an Earth Power. If he Will-O-Wisp, even better. Because he really doesn't have an Earth Power switch in at this point. Go into Three Sisters, which is the Sandy Shocks. And we are going to see the Yawn, which is very annoying. Because that's really the one move there that put my Sandy Shocks in a bad situation, because obviously he can slack off. Sorry, I'm getting mucus in my throat all of a sudden. But yeah, he can just slack off here on my switch, or he can do something else. So that's why I switch. I didn't want Sandy Shocks to fall asleep. That would have not been fun. Goes for the Curse here to boost his defense and attack and lower his speed, which doesn't really matter at this point. So I see a Curse and I'm like, damn, you know, I better not get freaking swept by a Crocalor. That would be very frustrating. that would be awful. And it's not like I can just Swords Dance past this thing with Iron Boulder, because it is unaware, so it's not going to be affected by that. So at this point, my best plan is just to Freeze Dry, and then, you know, I do 0 damage pretty much. But he's going to Yawn, and at this point I have to switch into Sandy Shocks and hope that he doesn't knock me out with a hit, or, you know, or double Yawn. Double Yawn would be probably the worst. Actually, knocking me out here with a Flare Blitz would probably be worse, or any fire type move. But we are going to see a Curse, which is thankfully going to kind of keep us in this game. I don't know how it shakes out with Annihilate, because the Rage Fist boots are... there's a lot of those, and, you know, he's going to take damage. Okay, spoiler, he does have Flare Blitz as his last move. He has Slack Off, Curse, Yawn, and Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz gives him, takes recoil on him, and I have a lot of defense investment, so I don't know how that would have shaken out. But I am just going to be able to Earth Power here. If he does Terrastallize into a Ghost type, I'm fine with that, because then Rage Fist is super effective. We do a lot of damage with that Earth Power. They're just going to Flare Blitz and knock us out, which is great. Great news, honestly. Sandy Shocks put in a lot of work. It was really prevalent in this game, I feel. Wish I had gotten up more hazards, but it is what it is. I think Sandy Shocks in future games, if I continue to bring it, I think eventually we're going to see it just take on a purely hazard role. But in this game, it had such a good offensive presence that that wasn't really possible. Maybe if I had Stealth Rocks on something else, like I guess Annihilate, then that would have been nice. But anyway, Annihilate is going to come out here and just knock him out. At this point, I'm thinking that I pretty much win the game regardless. So who do I give the last 3 kills to? And I'm going to give it to Annihilate. Or is it... Does he still have 4 Pokemon left? I think he... Wait. Okay. Knocked out the Kyurem. Kyurem. Knocked out the Clefable. No, he's got 3 left. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Chestnut died to Salazzle. Okay. So... yeah. We're just going to Rage Fist. Knock out the Chatterbox. Kind of glad it lived the recoil so that I could give Walder Frey another kill. Oh boy. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy the nicknames. Obviously Game of Thrones reference. Well, not obvious if you didn't watch the show, but yeah. Or read the books, I guess. I actually just finished the Fire and Blood book, which was pretty exciting. So, yep. We're going to knock out the Crocalor. He's got 2 more Pokemon left. Diglett and Slowking. I think he goes into Diglett first, which is also a really fun set, you'll see. So, the People's Champ. The living legend. I don't know how to get the titles on the Pokemon. Let me know that too. How to get the titles at the end there. Because that'll be fun. I've always thought that was pretty cool to have those things. So I'm going to Rage Fist. He's going to Endure, which means he's probably like, I don't know, Likey Berry or Salic Berry or even Custab Berry. So I'm going to Rage Fist, bring him down to 1 HP. And we don't see a berry here, which makes me think he's going to be Custab. I don't think this thing gets Explosion, but even if it did, I'm not affected by it. So we're probably just going to see, you know, he probably has Reversal too, just to hit, I don't know, anything that doesn't get hit by Earthquake. But you can see here, Diglett just is not strong. It's very unstrong. And I had to record my reaction to that because I thought that was funny. And look, now just in time, the camera decides to focus up, which is pretty fun. So, yeah, obviously you didn't see the reaction to the Crocalor set, but I was sweating. I was shaking in my boots. Because that thing was pretty scary. So, GG is going to be the last Pokemon, and it is going to say GG because that is going to be the end of this game. We didn't get to see Iron Boulder at all, but that's okay. We didn't... I don't want to say we didn't need it because we kind of got fortunate. I wouldn't say lucky, but fortunate at the end there with the Crocalor not double yawning into the Sandy Shocks, but it is what it is. We end up taking the W. GG's to GawdBear and his team. I forget the team name. I'm already on to the next week, to be honest with you. It was a pretty fun game. I mean, we talked about it afterwards. That was really fun. I really appreciated all the fun little sets that my opponent brought. But that's going to be it. We are now 2-0, which is a great start. We've got a 3-0 victory there. And yeah, that's gonna be it. I don't know who we face next week. I haven't checked, but I'm sure I'll be prepping for that tomorrow, today and tomorrow. And we'll get on with it. So I think that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys for watching so much. And I will see you guys in the next video.